Now, you mentioned your dad, your parents actually both, a few times in the conversation. I'm wondering if whether from them or anywhere else, you had pretty high expectations of yourself, on yourself, from an early age. And if so, did it help? Did it hurt? If not, did not having high expectations help or hurt you?
No, I laugh. I have 4 older brothers, and they're 4 of my favorite people on the planet. I grew up in a ridiculously happy household, and I'm finding that's becoming more and more rare, which is too bad. But no, my parents were very encouraging. My parents were married for 65 years.
Wow.
I know. How great is that? I never heard them argue. I never did. Not that we weren't ever disciplined. Not that they didn't ever get mad at us. 5 boys, we broke everything.
Sure.
You're not supposed to play football in the living room, but we did.
Right.
And so no, they always were very encouraging and said, find your place. And the one thing I'll never forget my mom telling us, all of us, is that we could be anything we wanted to be. She said, you boys are talented, you're fun, you're good boys, you can be anything you want to be. And all 5 of us have great lives. I mean, we all are madly in love with our wives. We've all got great kids. Not that we haven't had a heartache and obstacles, of course, we have. But we've always rallied around each other, and it was an example of our mom and dad. In our presentation, you probably remember, I always refer to our parents as our first managers. And I believe that. Sometimes we have great managers, and sometimes we have not such great managers. For those that have had, maybe not such a happy upbringing, you can always say, well, I want the opposite of that. My dad always said, don't worry about screwing up. You can always be used as an example of what not to do.
Right.
So you can take it there. But no, I count myself as extremely, lucky. Well, there's that word again. Maybe blessed is a better word, to have grown up in such a loving home.
Do you ever consider yourself having ever failed? And if so, at what?
Oh, yeah, and spectacularly so.
Kind of picking up on that last idea of what your dad would always tell you.
Oh, yeah. Well, when you grow up in Vancouver, there are a couple of things you do. You learn to love the ocean and the spectacular views, and you learn to ski. In Edmonton, you learn how to skate because it's pretty flat. There's no skiing going on there. But, so, the old idea of skiing is if you're not falling, you're not skiing. And so you have to, I tell my team, look, we encourage failure. Not to the point where you bring down the whole group or get thrown in jail, let's put boundaries on these things.
Right.
But no, I was working in Hartford, Connecticut, at a TV station up there, and failed quite spectacularly. I wasn't ready to run a team. I had no concept of building a team. I'd had a pretty good career. I thought I was pretty smart. I thought I could kind of carry things and just kind of do it, because everything we'd kind of done had worked pretty well. But no, it failed pretty spectacularly. Came back to the media company in New York, kind of regrouped for a couple of years, and then had the opportunity to come to OC Tanner. But no, if in your career you haven't failed spectacularly at least a couple of times, I don't think you're pushing the envelope enough.
Now, what
don't
does
go
that?
out and try to get fired,
right?
But I think if you're going to experiment and if you're going to try and if you're going to try to make that leap to do something really great, you're going to stumble, and there's no shame in that. It's in our house on our the second floor where all the bedrooms are. My wife is taking these sponge things, and we put these little sayings around the top of the wall, and one is it doesn't matter whether you fall, it matters whether you get up. Everybody falls, and I really do love the expression, and I think this time of year with baseball playoffs and everything, it doesn't matter how you start, it matters how you finish. Finish strong, push through, and odds are a strong finish is a lot more important than a strong start. And, as we look, particularly at this year with the economic failures that have happened and have been spectacular, to say the least, you're seeing a lot of companies having a pretty good fourth quarter or building to a pretty good fourth quarter. And
Yeah.
that's what you want.
Yeah.
Nobody declares the year a success in March.
Yeah.
You know, but by the end of November, you better have a pretty good feel for how you're going to wrap things up.
Sure.
You know, and that's important. So yeah, no, we even in our group, or we had a guy that we actually did some business with where he would actually have an award. He would give $100 for big mistakes to his employees. Yeah, and here's why he did it. He says, I don't want anybody hiding mistakes. He says, I call it the failure bonus. And he says, because as soon as somebody makes a big mistake, you want to know about it right away so you can correct it, right?
Yeah.
So he says, I love it when my employees come in and they sit down and say, Bob, I think I need a bonus.
It definitely gets the conversation started in a better place.
Exactly, and he pulls out the $100 because he goes, "What did you do?"
Yeah.
You know, but again, talk about building a great team and cheering for each other and appreciating honesty and openness. Hey, let's get all the mistakes out on the table. Let's fix them as fast as we can. We're in this together. Completely different atmosphere than when you make a mistake and you try to bury it as quick and as fast as you can, right? And if you can, blame it on the guy that you hope you'll get promoted above. It does it pretty freaking feeling. You know, as you close the thing up, one of the things I like to remind viewers and listeners and people at our conferences is the chair principle is a great way to build a great business, but it really is a great way to run your life. You know, people that are appreciative, give back, serve each other, cheer for each other, they just have happier lives. And boy, nobody knows that better than me. And hopefully those are the lessons that people take away is when they start doing it, they don't do it just at work. You know, they do it at home with their spouses, with their kids, with their Sunday school classes, with their teams. It really is a principle that translates to your personal life in a spectacular way.